Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Talk Scottish Football.
You almost said podcast there, but it isn't a podcast.
I know exactly. This isn't a podcast. It's a special edition video.
Yeah. Something we've discussed about briefly in the podcast. Scotland have a big playoff match coming up next month, and we thought that we would both go against each other. Well, we're hopefully against each other. We might end up with the same.
I know, if we ended up with the exact same 11 here.
So we're both going to try and hit it with our preferred 11s for the Scotland team. What we're going to do is we're going to assume, based on Steve Clarke's press conference last week, he hasn't given up hope that Tierney, McTominay and McGinn and all the other injured players will be available. So he's not giving up hope, so therefore we're not going to give up hope and assume that everybody's fit. We're not going to include players who've retired, so Alan McGregor and Scott Brown, unlucky.
Scott Brown, how long has Scott Brown been out of the team now? Because that's been a while, hasn't it?
It was 2-3 years. This is not our expected 11s, because I think our expected 11s would be a lot different, if I'm honest with you.
Expected 11s would have about 3 or 4 of my
Stephen
players
Naismith,
gone.
Stephen Naismith would be nailed on at
Oh,
number
he'd
9,
be up front, aye.
Yeah, without a doubt.
If it was expected. So it is our hopeful 11s.
Yeah,
to say the least. And we're going to go through it. We're going to have graphics on screen. We'll reveal them one by one.
And then kind of at the end you can, our lovely audience, choose which team you prefer.
Right.
So we'll kick off a goal. I'm going to let you start with your goalkeeper.
I think we're probably going to be the same here. I'm going with David Marshall.
Yeah, likewise.
There's not really... I mean, I would love to turn around and say Craig Gordon, but he's not played football.
The wee asterisk for this is if Craig Gordon does go to Hearts and plays between now and March, I'd go with Craig Gordon.
Sadly, we're on the 30th of January. It doesn't seem like that'll happen.
No, so David Marshall has always been solid for Scotland, and Steve Clarke, he's been Steve Clarke's number 1, so I think it's pretty straightforward at that.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be much competition. The squad, John McLaughlin down at Sunderland, not really.
No, the boy McGillivray at Southampton's not. Portsmouth isn't really. So it's David Marshall for me.
Easy decision.
Right back.
Well, I am going to go with the option of playing a left back at right back.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people... This kind of seems to differ between people. We've spoke about this in our call.
Again, I think it's another one we're probably going to agree on.
I've got Kieran Tierney.
I also have Kieran Tierney
and
right back.
I am judging off the performances that we've seen him at right back for Scotland in the past.
I'm exactly the same. I mean, it was Scotland's last upturn in fortunes of the Gordon Strachan. Tierney was at right back, and the whole team was great. He was great.
He was fine.
I don't like. For me, I'd rather have Tierney at right back than Palmer or O'Donnell.
Definitely. I think O'Donnell, as much as I liked O'Donnell,
he's also having a really poor season.
Yeah, but exactly. Last season, I liked O'Donnell, and I would say maybe there's a shout of him coming in to be Scotland's right back, but Kilmarnock's season hasn't been good enough.
The last 2 games, Palmer did okay for Scotland. I'll give him that, and I think he probably will be the one that starts. But again, assuming everyone's fit, this is what I would prefer to see. I'd definitely go Kieran Tierney.
Absolutely. Right, you like
centre halves. I think this is where we get a bit different. I hope, anyway. This would be awful if we had the same team. My right centre half is Declan Gallagher.
Oh, right, we've differed then.
Right, okay. Do you want to... shall I just fire out my wee explanation
you go.
for this?
Tell us why.
Well, why? Mainly because our centre halves are pretty atrocious, and I was looking at it. We've got so many left footers. Tierney's a left footer. My left centre half's a left footer, and so is my right back. And the other options for right centre half are also left footers. You can't have a back 4 of left footers. You can't do that. Also, Motherwell have been great. Gallagher came in to the squad towards the end of the last campaign and he was solid. He's in form. I can't see a better option, Declan Gallagher.
Now, I, for my right centre half, have went for Scott McKenna.
Oh my goodness gracious me. He's got it. The most lopsided defence in history.
I hate Scott McKenna.
I hope he's not listening.
I know. I don't.
There goes him as a guest.
I know. I don't hate him. I've just been very critical of him in the past. Obviously, a player who's been linked with my team a couple of times, someone I've not wanted to see in my team a couple of times, but I feel like for these qualifiers or these playoffs, I should say, against Israel, I get your argument completely. I really do. I understand we don't want a lopsided back 4.
But you're probably going to go for it anyway.
I'm going to go for it. I'm because I think at the end of the day, right, as much as I think Declan Gallagher has come on a terrific game, looks a solid player, we need to go with our most... And there's no such thing as a most solid back 4 for Scotland, because our centre halves it's not great. We're probably the most unlucky country in the world for the quality of centre halves
compared to the quality of left backs.
Exactly.
We've got like 5 left backs who could easily slot in.
I know, but I think McKenna is the one who's most experienced in playing for the first team. He's playing for Aberdeen, where he's, for the last 3 years has got them to cup finals. He's got them to second and third place finishes. And they've probably conceded less goals.
It's probably one of the most capped centre halves we have in the squad.
Yeah, exactly. He's conceded less goals at Aberdeen than what Gallagher has his time at Motherwell and such.
Are you guessing there?
No, I'm not guessing.
Oh, okay, I'm
He
just
played
checking.
Was it no Livy? Played for before as well. So that's why I said
Yeah,
in such.
yeah.
Aye,
Oh, we'll
exactly.
see.
I'm not guessing.
Yeah, have a go. I'm just
You'll
Declan
guess.
Gallagher's the man. I'm
But
telling
I'm
you.
going with McKenna for my first one, as much as it pains me to say it.
Right, left centre half. I'm gonna let you go with yours first.
I went with Suter.
Have you?
I went with Big John
We
Suter.
differentiate again.
Oh, have we?
Yeah, we have.
I've just gone with Suter. I'm going to keep this one brief. I've went with Suter because I've always been a fan of Suter. I think that, it could be, there's two centre halves at Hearts that could potentially get in this team, him and Halkett.
This is the team that are bottom of the league in Scotland, by the way, and you're going with their centre half.
Yes.
Do you want us to get beat in this playoff?
Look, put Suter in a team at the top end of the table. It would be terrific. You can't put it all down to him.
Well, speaking of players on top ends of league tables, I'm going to go with Liam Cooper at centre half.
Probably won already.
Cooper, Leeds United captain. Leeds are having another great season under Marcelo Bielsa. Cooper's played under him for 2 seasons now. Who Bielsa is one of the most respected coaches in Europe at this point.
I don't know why I've not went with Cooper.
He is a captain. He's a leader. He is a left-footed player at left centre half alongside a right-footed player at right centre half. And yeah, he's not had much of a look in for Scotland. He's always kind of been injured or pulled out of squads and stuff. But again, this is our preferred 11. And for me, I just think that the two sort of form players at centre half, Gallagher and Cooper.
The one thing you can't hold against me in this video is the fact I've actually tried to make it interesting, so we don't have the same squad.
Oh, don't give me that excuse now.
I should have went for Cooper.
You didn't even know I was going to go with
No,
Cooper, so don't tell me you're doing it to make it interesting.
I'm just saying that. I'm just
right, left back is Andy Robertson.
Well, Craig Taylor.
yeah. No, it's Andy Robertson, who will
Robertson,
benefit, I think, from having,
he should be captain. I just want to
Well, who should be captain?
It shouldn't be him.
That's rubbish.
He's
You
not
can't
a leader.
say.
He's
Like,
not
who
a leader.
is then? Who is?
If I'm looking at my team, I know who I'm giving the armband to. I don't want to reveal who I've gave away one of my options.
But in
it's
terms of
not
who's
Robertson.
been playing for regularly for Scotland recently, I don't know who the captain is apart from Andy Robertson. I agree that.
Granted, he is the best player in the team.
Yeah, it's what I hate
Yes,
it when that happens though,
but-
because it's been like you see it so many often with international teams now. The best player just gets the armband by default, which I don't agree with. Yeah, Robbo's fantastic. He is fantastic.
I mean, he's a European champion,
Yeah,
soon
world
to
champion.
be world champion, and soon to be English
Yeah,
champion.
and I think he's the absolute one nailed on.
He's the best left back in the world.
Yeah.
Our country
Yeah,
is
I agree.
fortunate enough to have the most. I wouldn't want to say relevant position, it don't matter, but you know what
But
I
even
mean.
like over the past few years, we've had so many good left backs. Like we've had Robertson, Tierney, Barry Douglas has been good, Greg
Yep.
Taylor, even like Shinnie when he was sort of flying at
that's
left back. Even like it's controversial. At one point, Lee Wallace was a good left back as well.
Uh-huh.
And we had, over the years, we've had great left backs. Robertson's the pick of the
Wallace
bunch.
been doing solid in the QPL, isn't he?
Yeah,
Bring him back.
Get him back in the fold. Right, I think we're both going to go the same shape, which is sort of 4-3-3.
Well, we should have discussed that at the start, probably.
4-3-3, 4-5-1 without the ball kind of thing, standard.
4-3-3. How are we setting off? How do you want to start this?
Well, I'm going to go with my sort of holding midfielder, who is Scott McTominay.
Yep, I've got the. No, I've not.
Oh, have you
I've
not?
not got McTominay. I thought I did. I don't have McTominay. as
Right,
my
well,
holding
I've
midfielder.
not. People who know me will know that I've not always been a big McTominay fan. It took me a while to
I do
warm
love
to him. But I mean, he's Man United's best player this season.
Yep.
And for all Man United, they're terrible. It's still Manchester
Sadly
United.
being injured. He's a top quality player. He's not on my team.
He's a doubt for the playoff, but again, we said Steve Clark's still hopeful, so
think-
therefore I'm still hopeful.
When it comes to systems and playing that holding midfield role, McTominay's probably going to do a perfect job at doing that. And I'm surprised I've left him out, but I have picked 3 players who I think against Israel are
So
going to
who's your holding?
my holding midfielder, and it's so hard to differentiate. I've got 2 players who could potentially fill the role.
Right, I'll just pick one.
You're cheeky today, aren't you?
This is a battle. This is
I know.
competition. We're not
I
being
don't know
nice to
who
each
to
other
pick as my
anymore.
holding one. I'm going to go Cal McGregor.
Cal McGregor.
Cal
okay.
McGregor, because normally I would want McGregor to be more of an attacking player, but under Lennon at Celtic, he has filled the role of being a holding midfielder, and he's done it well. And we've seen him win so much. So
Yeah, I mean, I like Cal McGregor. Good player. Thing is with McTominay for me is for all he's playing in a bad Man United side, he's still playing up against great midfielders every single week.
I think though McGregor is Mr. Consistent, never puts in a bad shift. He might not do a lot, might not get him in the highlight reel, but he's always going to be there in the game, being consistent, being strong, making passes, winning tackles, going forward if he's called upon. That's the thing, he brings a different dimension. If you want to change things up with the guy I've got partnered beside, who I think everyone will know who it is.
I don't even know who it is.
You
Right,
don't know
we'll
who
move
it
on
is?
to the next one. Who have
Oh.
you got in there beside him?
Well, I think I've got in my opinion,
just go next to your three, right? So we've got 3 midfield players. Go to the next one. Who's your next one?
in my opinion, he is Scotland's best outfield player apart from Robertson. I've got John McGinn.
Aye, so I've got John McGinn as well. But John McGinn's not going to play as a holding midfielder.
No, exactly. He's not going to play as a home midfielder, but you have got the option if McGregor playing beside him.
Yeah.
If he needs to.
McGinn so it's almost like you've almost got like a 2 with a 1 in front.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's exactly what I've got.
I'm with you.
But the
Whereas
thing
I've
is,
gone 1 and 2 in front.
Right, okay, right, I can see. I've got 2 with 1 in front, but I think McGinn has got that capability. If you need him to play more defensively, he can definitely do it. Not so much a holding midfielder.
He gets stuck in, doesn't he, John?
There is no requirement for a holding midfielder. I
agree.
I think that if you've got someone who is at least going to do something defensively, which McGinn can definitely do, you're fine. And that's why I've got McGregor there.
Yeah, I mean, McGinn is the talisman. He's the modern day James McFadden for me. He's just Scotland's main man. It will be a massive blow if he misses this game.
Oh, it would be huge.
I mean,
everybody knows how much I love John McGinn.
I mean, everyone loves John McGinn. How can you all love John McGinn? Super
John McGinn,
fan,
maybe.
Yeah, but even then, if you're supporting Scotland, you've got to love him. He's my second midfielder as well. So I've got McTominay, sort of sitting in front. I've got McGinn, who we've obviously spoke about. My third midfielder might be a bit of a shock. I think we might have a different one here. I've gone with John Fleck.
We've went very different. Went very, very different.
Well, who have you gone with?
I went Ryan Christie.
Have you?
I went Ryan Christie. Ryan Christie, arguably Celtic's best creator this season.
I agree.
Honestly, I think he could offer so much to Scotland if he's linked to the right players. We've not seen a great account of him in a Scotland shirt, I'd say.
No,
he's not
quite hit the heights yet, but we know he's capable of it.
I think he's...
The reason I've just gone with Fleck is similar to the McTominay thing. He's been one of Sheffield United's best players.
Which is mental because, honestly, 5 years ago, if you turned it to me and said John Fleck's going to be a Scotland international, I'd have laughed.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd have done the same. I just think he's been brilliant for Sheffield United this season.
He has.
You know, my midfield 3, McTominay, McGinn, Fleck, Premier League players who play in the Premier League in England every week, who, for all this Scottish football, it's still a better quality football than what we have up here.
But then again, in the past, we have seen these Premier League players flop.
Yeah, I just think.
Your...
But the thing is, in those days, you've had Morrison, MacArthur, who's another example, Bannon, have all just been picked because they play in the Premiership, nothing to do with form, whereas these boys have all been in form.
Aye, they have been. To be fair to them, they have been. I think John Fleck is undoubtedly got to be in the squad.
Yeah.
Just for me, I'm going for Christie because, as you know, I've said to my sister, I've got the 2 behind. If I want a pure attacking midfielder who can score and make goals, for me it's Ryan Christie.
Right, so we've done 8 players so far. How many differences have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4 differences.
That's
4
not
out of
bad,
8.
isn't it?
More than I thought we were going to have.
Already we have a conversation for whose team is better.
Right, so we'll move on to the front 3. Now, I never once said that Ryan Christie wasn't in my team. I never said he wasn't in my team. Ryan Christie is the right of my front 3.
Is he now?
He's playing off the right, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Which I've just realised as I've said this, I'm shooting myself all in the foot with a left-sided argument because I've got 2 left footers now on the right-hand side. But still, I'm going with it anyway. Christie has to be in this team.
And on that note, vote for my team.
Christie has to be in this team. He's a goal threat. You know, he's getting better and better. I just think he's fantastic.
You're not going to be happy.
And I also, who are you going with?
You're not going to be happy.
James Forrest.
James Forrest.
Well, the reason I've not gone with Forrest is because just his form up to now.
He scored last night.
He did score last night, and he'll probably going to run a form now.
The time of recording, by the way, is after the St Johnson midweek game.
30th of January recording this on. Up until this point, he's not been in great form recently. That's why I've gone with Christie.
Understandable.
But I mean, Forrest could go on a run now, couldn't he?
Christie's been out for a month.
Yeah, but he's also had a fantastic season. It's undeniable. He's been said it's probably
the reason I've went with Forrest on the right is because the games that matter to James Forrest, I feel like. I know he disappeared against Rangers. No denying that he disappeared against Rangers. But I feel like when there's something big on the line,
he did score a hat-trick against Israel and last time.
Exactly. That's when there's something.
I don't know why I'm making arguments for your team now.
When there's something on the line, I think Forrest plays his best. I think that's when you get something out of him.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what
it's. I'm not averse to having James Forrest this season, but for me, I had to get Ryan Christie in, and my midfield 3, I was so certain that was my 3 that Christie has to come in there for me.
Fair play.
He's played that position for Scotland and Celtic this season, done it well.
Yep.
So
fair play enough.
We'll move on to the other wing.
Yep, the left wing.
I think we'll probably agree.
I will kick us off here.
Okay.
I've gone for Ryan Fraser.
Yeah, so have I.
I went Ryan Fraser. There's no really an argument, is
there?
Yeah,
he is fantastic.
So you got to put. Well, I mean, Matt Phillips is more right-sided as well, isn't he? So
Ollie Burke, mate, he's fantastic. Get him in there. No, not a hope. Get him as far away from the squad as possible.
You made me shiver.
Yeah, I know.
Don't mention that name around these parts.
Ryan Fraser. Yeah, he's fantastic. He's going to be good on the counter as well. He's quick. He's Premier League experience. He's got end product. He can score a goal. He's got assists galore in him on his day. And I just think for me, if everyone's fit, he's
just men on it.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, Burke's quick, but Fraser's got end quality.
Yeah,
He can actually
exactly.
control a football. Therefore,
Yep. Buck's like like an elephant run the line, but an elephant with like jet propelled speed.
Yeah.
Like big giant feet and the ball's gone.
he's just. He reminds me of a mate of mine, Tom Benfield from Malag. Plays from Malag. If you listen to this, Tom, there's a wee shout out. All the pace in the world, but
Nay touch.
first touch of a baby giraffe. Sorry, Tom. Sorry, Tom.
Which brings us nicely on to the end of the team. Striker. We said before the show we think we might have the same. Do we have the same?
I think we do, but quickly, I think the striker for Scotland this playoff will be Stephen Naismith.
I think it'll be Naismith.
But for me, at 34 years old and someone who is so injury prone, blah 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 blah, doesn't get in my team. It's the man back in form for me, Lee Griffiths.
Up until 24 hours ago, I would have not put Lee Griffiths.
Really? Aye.
But now
Who
I
do you
have
have gone with
Griffiths in my
incidentally?
team.
Shankland?
I don't know with Shankland.
Yeah.
24 hours ago, I would have went with Shankland, but I think last night was the final piece in the puzzle to finally finding out that Lee Griffiths is back.
See, I think Shankland's great,
Oh yes,
and
no conversation.
I actually wouldn't even have. I think if I didn't go Griffiths, I probably would have gone with Shankland. People are going to make the argument for Ollie McBurney, but as my saying goes, McBurney on TV off. So
McBurney is just...
he's been great for Sheffield
that's the
United,
thing,
but for
yeah,
Scotland,
he
he's been utterly
Look,
woeful.
there is attitude problems when playing for Scotland. We've seen it. He said he didn't even want to play for Scotland. Sheffield United, I think, play, no disrespect, and play a brand of football which is nice for McBurney. People like it. Scotland are definitely a different thinking 11. If we go with this, if we go for our 11s, that is not an 11 that lumps the ball up to the striker.
No,
is
definitely not.
It is definitely not. So for me, there's no way that McBurney could be the starting striker. By all means, pick him, bring him to the squad. If we need a goal in the 90th minute, lump him on the park. But Griffiths is, for me, with Christian behind him, with Forrest outright, which we seen last night, linked up with Forrest terrifically, and Fraser out in his left, all signs point towards goals.
Yeah. We said we had the same formation, but you've actually just more of a 4-2-3-1, whereas I've got like
you'd think so.
Forrest,
This is the way I've
Christian,
drawn it.
Fraser is the three behind.
Yeah,
Griffiths.
this is kind of like a three here, right?
See, you're very
This is
attacking
Cam.
because even your holding players are two really attacking
they are,
fielders.
but I think if we're going to Hampden and we're playing Israel, we need to attack. And I think, look, I said it, McGregor does a terrific job defensively. We need him to, and McGinn gets stuck right in. I think if they don't fall asleep, there should not be a lot of problems there.
Yeah.
Maybe it changes if we play Serbia, because Serbia are different, Norway.
Griffiths is number 9 for me is a no-brainer. The last we mentioned it with Tierney when Scotland were close to qualifying for the World Cup under Strachan. He brought Tierney in at right back, Griffiths in up front, and we turned into a different animal.
Aye.
He's capable of the spectacular, but he's also a poacher. He'll score goals in the box. If you supply him with chances, he's probably going to take them. I can't see. Naismith, I could understand if maybe you were playing away from home, where you've got that experience, someone who'll get you up the park, win free kicks, hold on to the ball, bring others into play. Whereas Griffiths at home, he's a goal scorer. His first thought is to score the goals.
What about Stephen Fletcher?
I actually really like Stephen Fletcher.
You're joking.
I do. I like Stephen Fletcher.
Yeah.
I actually would have had Stephen Fletcher in recent squads, as our striker.
Jeez.
Stephen, again, the game against Israel last time at Hampden, he played up front with Christie and Forrest either side, and he was great. He brought them in. Honestly, I think Stephen Fletcher's class. He's also been doing well at Sheffield Wednesday this year.
Stephen bloody Fletcher.
You don't like Stephen Fletcher, no?
Don't start me.
No, I like Stephen Fletcher.
Ready.
I remember watching Scotland games back in the day, and the crowd were
back in the
singing
day.
for Stephen
Back
Fletcher.
in the day, aye.
But
Don't
he's like
get
a
me wrong.
fine wine, is big Stephen Fletcher. He's also
think?
fantastic banter on them Scottish national team FIFA videos they do. Him and
Aye,
Bannon.
that is good.
Get him and Barry Bannon in the squad just for the absolute
Let's
crack.
get them on as guests. Go on,
And
join us.
Snodgrass. Get Snodgrass back in because he's a good lad as well.
Snodgrass, to be fair, has not been too bad at West Ham.
He's getting nowhere near the squad for
Aye,
him. So that is our teams.
You want to quickly run through our 11s? What,
Yeah, you go
I'll
first. You run through
So
yours.
I have gone with the 4-3-3. Think of it as you're playing FIFA and turn it to the one that has a cam and two centre mids.
Typical. Plays FIFA, thinks he knows football. Hellish, man.
I'm trying to put it into simple terms so that people hear.
You suggest our audience are simple?
Are you trying to take me a grave here?
This is a competition here.
Alright, well, if you want to vote for the simple man, then there you go. Then the team follows. David Marshall with a back four of Kieran Tierney, Scott McKenna, John Suter and Andy Robertson. A midfield three of Cal McGregor, John McGinn and Ryan Christie. And the front three of James Forrest, Lee Griffiths and Ryan Fraser.
And for me, this is the team that would win the playoffs for Scotland.
Oh.
David Marshall in goals, a back four of Kieran Tierney, Declan Gallagher, Liam Cooper, Andy Robertson, a midfield three of Scott McTominay, John McGinn and John Fleck, and a front three of Ryan Christie, Ryan Fraser and Lee Griffiths.
Remember, if you want to die with seeing Scotland make a national tournament, international tournament, vote for me.
Well, I think when you see these teams side by side, there's only one winner for me. I've got everything. I've got balance in midfield. I've got goals. I've got strength at the back. I've got leaders in there. I've got boys in form.
I've got all I need, and that's Scott McKenna.
You have a back four full of left-footed players who, where's the balance in that team? It's horrendous.
What do you mean, where's the balance?
There's no balance. You got 4 left-footers at the back.
Look, they're professional footballers, right? They should know what to do.
Yeah, well.
They can use their left foot as much as they like. If they can put the ball in the right place.
You also
that's
incidentally
what
said
matters.
that you hated one of your centre-halves and you want people to vote for your team.
I love Scott McKenna.
Right.
Anyway.
So that is that. I think we've got 2 teams there who would give it a right good go.
Aye, they would.
Obviously,
both right. Let's put it this way. Let's come to neutral.
We can put a poll in the actual video where we can vote.
right.
So we'll do that then.
Come in neutral terms here, right? We'll come in neutral terms. If any of these teams were fielded, would you fancy your chance?
Oh, absolutely. Whereas I think the team will be something like it'll be like Marshall, Palmer,
Naismith will be up front.
Naismith up front. It'll be fucking Ollie Burke on the right, on the left wing probably. I don't know.
Well, we can only wait and see what Mr. Clark does for us.
So yeah, that was that.
Bye Israel. Hopefully that's what we're saying at the
absolutely.
end of the game.
So cast your votes on the team. All the social media links for our Instagram, Twitter and all the rest of it, our own personal socials will be in the description as well.
Yep.
Make sure to like and subscribe and we'll see you next time.